Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger up next on the GM. If not now, then when? Time to move forward without John Harbaugh. Do me a quick favor, hit like. If it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So, that's the big question of the week. If not now, then when? You see, if you've been a Baltimore Ravens fan for a month, a year, a decade, or since the beginning, you have certainly ran into some conversation about it's time for John Harbaugh to move on. Now, on its face, John Harbaugh is a good dude. He's a really nice guy, at least he appears to be. He seems to be well liked. He seems to have a great appreciation for people. And all of that can be commended. But if we're honest, from the end of the Super Bowl that he and the Ravens won in the 2012 season up until the end of 2017, the Baltimore Ravens didn't do a whole lot. And during that time, there was many conversations about it being time for Harbaugh to move on. Okay. In fact, in 2015, 2016, and 2017, the Baltimore Ravens were a lackluster team, didn't seem to be headed anywhere with Joe Flacco and John Harbaugh as their basically on field leaders. And it was probably time to kind of cut bait with John Harbaugh then, maybe give him a seat in the front office and move forward with a new head coach. And 2018 was kind of headed the same way, right? Lamar Jackson was kind of in and out, doing some spot duty, things like that. Joe Flacco goes down. Lamar Jackson gets on the scene and, kind of mends the fences, so to speak. And John Harbaugh lives to coach another year. And then we understand the rest of the story. There's no point in rehashing that at this point. But the truth is, whether it was 2013 through 2017 or whether it's been 2018 through Sunday, right? The complaint about John Harbaugh still remains. And that complaint is his ineffectiveness or his insufficiencies at making decisions, checking his coaching staff when they need to be checked, proper game management, proper game planning, proper situational football, right? I mean, seriously, think about it. We're talking about basically a 12-year span since the Super Bowl that this conversation has been surrounding John Harbaugh. Do you know why the conversation still surrounds John Harbaugh? Because there has been little improvement in those major areas that impact winning. Okay? The truth, in fact, is John Harbaugh's latest success is intermingled, intertwined. It coincides with Lamar Jackson. When Lamar Jackson began to lead this offense, this team, and win, John Harbaugh also had a resurgence in his career, and he too was looked at as a winner because you win by proxy. This is not a Lamar Jackson conversation. This is not um, a debate about is Jackson right for the Ravens? Is he wrong for the Ravens? Everybody has their own opinion. And about half of the Ravens nation is to get rid of Lamar Jackson, and the other half is to continue to build up and build around Lamar Jackson. But the fact of the matter is this: a lot of the Baltimore Ravens fails coincide with John Harbaugh and his inability to be effective. And I think that Sunday was kind of everything coming full circle. Whatever the argument has been about John Harbaugh, mismanagement, situational game decisions, managing his coaching staff, being able to manage when things fall off the rails, being able to grab hold of things and kind of steady the ship. Sunday was a culmination of all of those things. Okay. Understandably, Lamar Jackson and this offense didn't do well, right? They did not play their best. But a great factor in that is this: it doesn't seem to be a real game plan. And if there was a game plan, it didn't seem to be that effective, which is why they would have scrapped it, they panicked, or whatever the situation may be. You see, the question is, when you hear across the sports world that the Ravens panicked, who does that start and end with? You see, because whatever type of leader you have is going to be the product you produce. It's like that in all aspects of life, whether it's in the family, whether it's in business, whether it's in government, whatever your leadership looks like, everything that's under that leadership is going to mimic, imitate, replicate that product. For an example, if you have a dad at home who's involved with his kids and tries to lead his home and has some boundaries and some standards that the house is going to run by, you're going to produce a kid who lives with a standard, right? But if you remove good leadership and the kids run the house and people can do what they want and go and come as they please, you're going to produce a product that's going to be full of mishaps, right? And that's what the Baltimore Ravens have been. When you look at Sunday's game, right? Everything that has been questionable about John Harbaugh over his tenure before the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, and during this last 6 year stretch was what we saw on full display on Sunday. Every complaint that we've had as a fan base about John Harbaugh and his leadership and his coaching abilities, so on and so forth, was on display. When you talk about a game plan and readiness, we didn't really, and we still don't know what the game plan was. We don't know what the game plan was, right? And when you talk about preparation, part of preparation is knowing the situation. Part of preparation is saying, hey guys, you know what? They might do some things to get up under our skin. We have to keep our composure. You saw the Baltimore Ravens lose their composure on Sunday. Whether you agree with the penalties or not, right? If we don't put ourselves in some of those situations, then the penalties may or may not even happen. But that's part of preparedness. That's part of preparation. And we didn't seem to have that. When you sit here on Wednesday and you're still wondering, what in the heck was the game plan? Why did they abandon the run? You still don't have any answers. And unless there's been a press conference since this video is being recorded, we still don't know. There still has not been a situation where one of the coaches, John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, somebody steps up and says, you know what? We dropped the ball. The offense fell down, but we also fell down on top of the offense. You see, when you cannot explain how you are a run first team, but you don't really run the ball, that's on head coaching, especially when you come out and you tell the world that you've noticed, hey, that we need to run the ball more. See, you come out and say it, but then you don't have the guts to step to Todd Monken and say, brother, you still ain't running the ball? When you saw your quarterback seemingly unsettled, you don't have the mindset to step to the offense when they're off the field and say, come here, guys, let's talk. And go and tell Todd Monken, when you put this offense back on the field, here are the things we need to do. When it's 3rd and 1 and you're going with a 210-pound running back versus your 235, 240-pound running back, that's situational game management. When it's 2nd and 4, you're going into the 2-minute warning and you allow two passes to be called incomplete, which then allows the Kansas City Chiefs to get back on the field and go get some more points. That's situational game management. Sunday was not the first time we've seen this. This has been happening for over a decade. And we don't have any reason. There is no reason in Raven Nation where we should be able to consider that this will stop happening anytime soon if John Harbaugh is in leadership. The real truth is this. I'm not 100% sure if this team is really going to trust John Harbaugh going forward after Sunday's debacle. I understand coaches coach, players play, but damn it, nobody was being coached. Nobody was being coached on Sunday, not offensively. Nobody. You see, the coaches weren't being coached, meaning the head coach should be able to coach or manage the other coaches. But you know why John Harbaugh can't coach or manage the other coaches? It's because he doesn't have a specialty himself. He's not an offensive mind. He's not a defensive mind. He was a special teamers who ended up coaching the defensive backs and then got his chance to coach the Baltimore Ravens. And you can see at times his inexperience. It seems like he would have gained some wisdom, some knowledge, some know-how to step into the middle of a situation when things are going wrong and say, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. But it doesn't seem to be that way at all. Now, I know this may sound like I'm laying all of this at John Harbaugh's feet as far as it pertains to the loss. No, 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 no. I'm laying the last 10 to 12 years at John Harbaugh's feet, and I'm saying simply that things haven't changed, and there is no better time now than to make a change, right? Ortiz left, and I think he's going to the Chargers. And just when I thought that things in Baltimore could not get worse, as I'm doing this recording, I learned that Mike McDonald has taken the Seattle Seahawks head coaching job. Congratulations to the Seahawks. They are getting a flat out stud for a head coach. My question to you, Ravens Nation, now is, if not now, then when? When everybody seems to be leaving, when everybody seems to be taking flight, then dadgummit, we might as well just tear it all down leadership-wise and just hit reset. EDC must go too. Because if EDC didn't have the foresight to know and see that Mike McDonald was a flat-out stud, if he didn't have the foresight and thought that, you know what, there's going to be many, many teams come after Mike McDonald enough to say, you know what, John, this may be your last ride. You guys better win it, right? If he didn't have the foresight to go to Mike McDonald and say, you know what, let me give you a bump in your pay. This is your job in 2025 or whatever, right? Whatever the situation could have been, there could have been a situation that was finesse for the Baltimore Ravens to make Mike McDonald their new head coach. How can you let this guy get out of the door? One of my subscribers who've been rocking with me for a while said for me to open my eyes that Mike McDonald is going to be in transition for the head coach. And I said back to him, when Mike McDonald gets head coaching consideration, if the Baltimore Ravens don't have a plan in place to make him the next head coach, whether 2024 or 2025, he will leave. And here we are without another freaking plan. I'm sick of this. I'm sick. I am sick. I am sick of this organization and their inconsistency to plan and develop something for the future. This is exactly what it looked like last year when Lamar Jackson was a free agent and you franchise tag him and you couldn't get a deal done and you let free agency come almost to a close before you get a deal done. You let all the better wide receivers come off of the board and we're left with Odell Beckham with a too high of a price and a Nelson Aguilar. And this is the kind of this is the kind of stuff that we do. This is the kind of stuff that keeps us winning the regular season, but falling down on our face when the big game comes because we don't make big time decisions. I'm absolutely flat out sick. And after I do the last two videos for this week, I'm done until February the 15th. I'm going to be in dadgum free agency mode and NFL combine mode. I'm sick of this. After Sunday, this is where we end up. After Sunday, this is what we end up with. You cannot listen, Ravens fans. We cannot make this up. You cannot make this kind of debacle up. This is a flat out debacle to let this guy at 36 get out the door. To be able to get 24 years younger, innovative, a master at creating defensive schemes. This is what you let go? It's ridiculous. The only guy I think is on the table who can come to Baltimore and use the pieces that are left over and do a great job as a DC is Ejiro down in Carolina. I know Zach Orr is up for the Green Bay defensive coordinator job, so he may be next in line for the Baltimore Ravens. I'd be okay with that. But a guy that I know who's proven is Ejiro. He did a good job over in Denver, and he went to Carolina, and with all of that hot mess over there in Carolina, oh my gosh, with all of that hot mess, he put on the field a top five defense when the top corner was hurt, both safeties were hurt, one of the best linebackers they had was hurt, and that offense couldn't stay on the dadgum field. That defense stood up under his leadership. He's the only one that I think could come in and be a DC. In fact, I would consider him a freaking head coach. John Harbaugh, EDC, this whole thing is a freaking mess. We must press reset. We must press reset. I'm super, super concerned. I am super, super concerned for what we're going to look like next year. The luster and shine of the Baltimore Ravens organization is quickly beginning to dull. All of the positive adjectives you could use for the Baltimore Ravens: consistent, a winning organization, top notch. All of that seems to be coming off. All of that seems to be coming off. This is a mess. Let me know what you guys want me to know, man. Do you think the loss of Mike McDonald is a big deal? Because I absolutely do. I think this is one of those things where you push the panic button. Because I thought that the Baltimore Ravens would have enough organizational foresight to be grooming Mike McDonald to take over the Ravens. But in fact, they were grooming Mike McDonald to take over the Seattle Seahawks. And the only thing that Mike McDonald left with us was a consolation prize in an often injured David Ajabo. Because it was Mike McDonald who encouraged EDC and John Harbaugh to agree to draft him. And that's the only thing we're going to have left from the 2 years he was the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator. What a fire sale. What a freaking organizational collapse. Because that's what this feels like. Guys, we're in trouble. I'm Miguel Boulanger, and I'm out.